Hey YouTube, Outdoorsman here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to change the transfer case fluid on this 2011 Dodge Ram 1500. So to complete this job you're going to need the following items. 3 quarts or approximately 3 liters of automatic transmission fluid plus 4. And that's as specified by the owner's manual, which you want to check. So that's for this model. Yours might be different, so just make sure to check that. You're also going to need either a 3/8 Allen key or a 3/8 hex end and a ratchet. If you have a skid plate in your vehicle like I do, you're going to need a ratchet and a 1/2 inch socket or a 1/2 inch wrench. I also like to use either some kind of a breaker bar or longer socket just to help to get that skid plate off. You'll also need something to catch your ATF fluid when you drain it, preferably a funnel to help you pour that into another container when you're all said and done. I'd also suggest bringing a pair of gloves, some paper towel, and some kind of pump. If you don't have the pump, you can pour this fluid directly in, but it makes it a little bit more difficult. So some of the containers will actually fit a little end like this you can pick up at your auto supply store. This one doesn't actually fit it, but I'm going to be using another type of fluid today, which is comparable or will work with this in order to get that fluid into your container. So the first thing you want to do is anytime you're going to be working on a vehicle or underneath a vehicle is you want to chock the wheels. And all that means is putting something behind the tire so that if the vehicle were to roll for any reason and you're underneath it, you wouldn't get crushed. Now I am working on a graded surface today and I'm not at my home location, so all I've got right now are these bricks, but ideally you want to use something a little bit bigger that's going to prevent the wheels from turning at all. So when going underneath the vehicle, it's nice to have something between you and the ground. I'm going to use these full mats today. If you don't have a creeper, which I don't have at the moment, but you can also use a piece of cardboard or really anything else just to keep your back off the ground, keep you a little less dirty, and in this case actually a little bit more warm because it's a little bit cold outside. So while underneath the vehicle, you need to locate your transfer case. So your transfer case is where your front shaft is going to come back into the casing here. You can see up along there, and it's going to come into the transfer case before it transfers power to the rear shaft. So we're going to be changing the fluid that's inside of this here today. Now in this model, the Outdoorsman, we have something called a skid plate. What that is a piece of metal underneath the vehicle that's designed to keep from rocks and other debris coming up and damaging the underside of your vehicle when you're driving off-road. So our first step is going to be to take this off, but you may not have this in your vehicle, and if you don't, that's okay. It's just that your vehicle's not equipped with it. So we're going to start by removing the bolts that are on the skid plate with a 1/2 inch socket or a 1/2 inch wrench, depending on what you have available to you. Now, due to how tight these are, I actually switched up to using a longer ratchet just to make it a little bit easier. And the skid plate will come off. So once your skid plate's off, you'll be able to get good access into your transfer case here. Next, you're going to slide your oil container or other plastic container underneath the vehicle, because you're going to need to catch the fluid that's going to come out of your transfer case. So we'll move the skid plate out of the way and move your container so it's situated underneath the transfer case. Next, you're going to remove the transfer case fluid from the transfer case. So to do that, we're going to open up the bottom drain plug on the transfer case. To do that, we're going to either need a 3/8 Allen key or a 3/8 hex key like this. So it's helpful to vent the transfer case just like you would if you're opening a can of pop. If you poke a hole in the bottom, it will actually pour quicker. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this top bolt first and allow air to come in as we're opening the bottom one, which will make it drain quicker. Set that to the side. Pull my container back underneath. Now we're going to open the bottom one. Now as soon as this plug comes out, the fluid is going to be draining out. So you want to try to keep your hand out of the way and just let that fluid drain out. Now that all that fluid's drained out, we're going to put our caps back in. So I'll start with the bottom cap. You just want to get it in there snugly. You don't have to kill it. Again, the tighter you put it on there, the harder it'll be to get off. So you just get it nice and snug. Next, you need to look in your user's manual or speak with your local dealer to find out what type of fluid that your vehicle needs for its transfer case. In this case, for the 2011 Dodge Ram 1500, it needs ATF or automatic transmission fluid plus 4, which is a synthetic fluid. So I'm going to suggest that you take your container and find a little cap like this. If you've got one, sometimes you can pick them up at the auto supply store. You can put it on the top, and it just makes it easier to get the fluid into the hole, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I think we're at our fill point there. So what's happening now is our fluid is actually pouring out because it's reached full. And as you can see, it's coming back out. So we'll stop pouring it in there. And we can go ahead and put our top plug back in. Just like that. And then if you want to, you can just use a piece of paper towel or a rag and clean up a little bit of ATF fluid that's been left on there. Now you can start putting your skid plate back up. So we'll start by putting the back up. And just feed that bolt through into its spot. And we'll do the same on the other side. And we'll just go back up to the front like that. And I'm going to use my socket to go ahead and tighten those bolts back up. Now we're just going to move back to the rear bolts and snug them up as well. So that is how you change the transfer case fluid on a 2011 Dodge Ram 1500. I really hope that video helped you and maybe even saved you some money. Please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel.